Hey family, we are back. Sorry it took us a little longer than usual. We had still trying to, this technology is really a trip, Nate. I mean,
Yes.
This is Outlaws with Advice for Life, and we come to you every Tuesday evening, Facebook Live at 8:30. And of course, we have our radio program. Usually my co-host Greg Harris, who is on vacation this week, and I have my wonderful friend and business associate Nate Fields. So Nate, I'll make sure they can see you good. Can they see your face, Nate? You might have to turn yourself a little bit. Right. So Nate is one of the young men that work with us at Win Family Services, serving the youth and families that we serve. He does an impeccable job. Just really a privilege to work with this brother. And as you can tell, all of y'all can tell, this man got muscles on top of that. he has done professional bodybuilding. And so, you know, I be trying to act like I'm trying to get muscles. I'm gonna keep working it, but every time I see him, he motivates me to do better. Hey, look, I know a lot of you are coming on. We were doing some exciting things right before the other show. If you have not seen that show, when you look at this show, please go back and listen to the previous show. It was dynamic. It was incredible. You're going to get a lot of life lessons out of that. And so as we have people come on, if you know our format, quickly what we do is that we take questions from people and comments, and we interact with you. We usually do that before the program. Then you get an opportunity to see our program done live, our radio program done. And so in this case, you'll see us do the radio program. Then we will pause. We will take questions, comments. We will interact with you. We will put ourselves in a position to be your servant, to answer your relationship questions. Somebody asked before, do you just do like relationships between married people? And I said, no, we just happen to be on that segment now. We're dealing with, married and intimate relationships. We're dealing with that in this segment that we're doing. But I've done many programs on, with parents and children. I've done a lot of things with single mothers and their sons. I've done a lot of things with, couples who are breaking up and what they do within divorce. So we've done a lot of different things in Advice for Life. So you're going to see a lot of things coming in the future. So just stay tuned. And what I want you to get is the skills. The skill sets can transfer to many different areas and many different things. So we're about to start our program, and we will continue from where we're at. Nate, we're going to queue up again. We're going to go from the second half of the program, and I'll lead in, and you just follow me in, bro.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Ready? Go.
Yeah, Greg, we're back. And so, this is, I got Nate here, and I appreciate you allowing, Nate to be here and to speak. My wife was with us in the first part of the program, but something came up and she had to go. So I was glad that we had our brother Nate already here in the studio. And so Nate, I just want to, thank you for being with us, man.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
Yes. So what we've been talking about is how men and how women should show up in relationship. And before the break, I was using this analogy about how someone may try to clothe themselves in what they need and what they want, right? And they can come with expectations. So their expectation is clothed with what they need and what they want. Now, of course, in our family strengthening, we clearly teach people that you should really clothe yourself with recognizing what the scripture says, that you should esteem the other person higher than yourself.
Absolutely.
So it's natural for us to have expectation, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of us have expectations. What we have to do is we have to learn to reframe those expectations, right, into lessons for ourselves.
Yes.
So if I really want something and I expect something, I'm saying God is trying to teach me what I need to give.
Absolutely.
Right? So first it was about me and what I wanted and what I expected, and now it's about me to try to find out what that person wants and what they expect, and now my mission is to give them that, right? And I become aware of that when I clothe myself, when my expectations are clothed and what I want and what I need, and I reframe it And then I become aware with the awareness wheel, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
remember what the awareness wheel was. Right?
Absolutely.
Tell them what the awareness wheel. Tell them the steps.
The awareness wheel has some very important steps. You have thoughts, you have your feelings, your intentions, or wants. Then you have your actions, and then you have your outcomes.
Right. Or your behaviors.
Or your behaviors.
Yeah, they work together. They're your behaviors. So what I always tell people is that if you want to trace your behaviors in a relationship, because what we really do, we have a tendency to be fight or flight.
Yes.
We have a tendency to either we're going to fight with you or we're going to run away.
Absolutely.
Right? I'm going to fight with you or I ain't dealing with you at all.
And that's the problem, because lately, especially dealing with men, one of the things that you will see is that, you touched on it a little earlier, is that the feeling aspect. When it comes to talking about how you truly feel, they're afraid to touch those emotions because now I'm in a place of vulnerability.
Exactly.
Now you see me for who I truly am and where I truly am at, and that scares me because now you can hurt me.
Right. And that's true, because men a lot of times when they're trying to show up, they feel vulnerable. And men really, and both sides respond in this fight or flight differently.
Yes.
So you'll see men a lot of times use sports or use activities that they do with their friends, their boys, or whatever, whether they're part of a club or a lodge, or some of them, now you're going to get this, some of them use their deaconship in church as a reason and a way to get away and to escape from the dynamics that are in the relationship. And they do that because they don't have any other thing to go to. Now you play basketball, Nate.
Absolutely.
And this guy could play. This guy could just straight hoop. I'm telling you, Nate could play, and actually his team won a national championship with.
We made it to the Final Four in 2002, 2003, first in school history.
What school?
Bowie State University.
Okay, nice, Bowie. Okay, that's local for us.
That's right. And we did some amazing things, but one of the things that I was watching during that time period is that when things get really tough in sports, people tend to show up. And one of the things that happens in relationships, when things get tough, people try to find an exit.
Right.
So if people were as competitive as they are with things that are their interests,
right,
and use that towards relationship,
right,
they can show up a lot better and a lot stronger.
They could. Now, with you playing basketball, you had certain go-to moves.
Absolutely.
Right. So, and you had not just one move, right?
You had several.
You had several moves.
Absolutely.
You had an arsenal of moves that you could make.
Yes.
And that's what distinguished between good players and all right players.
Yes.
Because the good players had many moves.
Yes.
That means that it doesn't matter how you cut them off, what kind of defense you played, what you gave them, and they always said, I'm gonna go with what the defender gives me.
Yes.
And if he gives me this, I'm gonna do that. So they had a lot of moves. And what happens in our relationship situation, what happens is that if a man becomes vulnerable and he's not in touch because he doesn't understand the awareness wheel, and he doesn't become in touch with his feelings, he's not able to say his feelings with one word, so he's not really in touch and aware. He knows that he's experiencing something. And so he doesn't have any other go-to moves.
Yes.
All he has is, I'm leaving because I don't want to deal with this. This is overwhelming for me, or we're going to fight.
Yes.
We're going to just argue, and you're going to, whatever, I'm going to get you, you're going to get straight. This is going to happen. This is my house.
Yes.
And we start pulling rank, and we start doing all these things to divert really from the fact that you feel hurt.
Yes.
Or you feel disrespected by what was given to you. And so you would have a lot more of your move was, instead of fighting or flying away, if you could just say, I feel disrespected. And I really want us to get to a place that we respect each other. And I recognize I got to work on making sure that I give you the respect that you're asking for. But I felt disrespected in this, and I want us to talk about how we can respect one another.
And that's big, because one of the things that tends to happen is that when people shut down, you can't move forward. You get stuck in this place.
Right.
And stopping that process, what winds up happening is that a person can be turned totally off. And in that, now I can't connect to them anymore.
Right.
Now we can't grow. We can't move. A flower without water will die eventually.
Right.
at some point in time, you have to continue to do the nourishment piece.
Right.
So the sunlight is important, the water and the rain is important, the storms and the seasons are important.
Right.
So while we're going through these situations, let's start to learn how to nourish one another during that time period
Right.
when there is no rain.
Right, exactly. So because what you sow, you will reap, and you have to do it in the good times so that when the difficult times show up, you know what to do.
Absolutely.
Same thing that you when you're in, like as you said, when you play basketball, you practiced and you put your body through a lot of stress and a lot of test and exercise and agility exercises, so that when you got on the actual court, then your body would be used to running up and down the court, and your body would be used to making that cut or that turn.
Yes.
It would be used to those things, so it would adjust. So it's like that in life, and it's like that in relationship. So just as you were saying, if the person has to recognize the importance of nurturing that relationship when things are well.
Yes.
Now, one of the other ways that people have flight, run away from situations, sometimes females will just shut down and they won't talk.
Yes.
And they will may get into a certain mode or attitude. They'll shut down physically.
Yes.
They'll shut down, and that's their way of running from the situation.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying men don't do that either, but I'm just saying a lot of times my experience is I've seen it happen that way a lot. One way or the other, the man will go out the door. A lot of times the woman will hold her post. She'll hold her post in the house. The man will leave his post.
Yes.
Right? And so we have to learn to get enough skills, enough ways of being able to communicate our thoughts and feelings appropriately. And of course, as we talk about the awareness wheel and we give you other skills, now those other skills are going to help you be able to manage in that relationship. Now, before the break, we were talking about that expectation piece.
Yes.
And I want to take the opportunity to talk about realistic expectations. So give me a little bit, Nate, about what you would say about realistic expectations.
Well, realistic expectations it really explains itself. Setting expectations that are realistic, thinking about the person's background, mental capacity, age, bring up. Those things are very important when you're talking about
upbringing, about how they were raised.
Yes.
Okay.
So the multi-generational systems, the people they come in contact with from day to day, in the milieu, et cetera, et cetera. What things influence them directly. Those are the things you have to take into account when you're talking about setting realistic expectations in a relationship. So let's talk about this for a second. You have a mechanic who is a great mechanic, but you want your mechanic to paint your wall.
Right.
That's unrealistic.
Right.
That's not what his job is.
Exactly.
His job is to be a great mechanic.
Exactly.
So if you want your spouse to be this great spouse and to be an awesome cook, but you know that they had issues with cooking, then you're setting expectations at that point in time that are unrealistic.
Right.
Now, if you work with them around cooking and
Right.
then you have an expectation that they'll cook, now you're starting to do the work.
Right. So part of what I set people up to do when they're starting a relationship is I call it the expectation checklist.
Wow. Awesome.
So what I'm saying is that I think you should have a conversation about what are your expectations.
Yes.
And the reasons behind your expectations. Somebody gave me on my Facebook Live family, they gave me a thumbs up or a heart. That means they loved it. Yes, you should have that conversation, because what happens a lot of times is that people do not talk about what they expect. And they assume, and the Bible says through assumption comes nothing but strife. I'm going to say that again. The Bible says through assuming, when you assume something and you haven't gotten the information, you haven't had the conversation, you haven't had the dialogue, you will have argument. You will have strife because you have moved on assumption. And we so many times interpret how other people should be and how they should feel and how they should think based on how we think and how we feel. And so what happens is that now we're trying to interpret that person through who we are.
Yes.
Rather than interpreting that person through who they are. So it becomes an unrealistic expectation. You want them to do or be or say or think a certain way, but it's really about what you think and you do and you say. And it's unrealistic for you to believe that a person should be as you are. But we all do it. We all have this, and we cringe. We have problems. We get jammed up because somebody has a different thought pattern. They have a different way of expressing themselves than we do. And I say you should check that in the beginning of a relationship.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's one of those things that goes to the growth process. Every season there are going to be quarters where you're going to have some spuds that are going to grow, some trees that are going to come out, but you have to be patient while they're going through that process and be with them. But you have to be realistic in that process too, knowing that a tree won't come overnight.
Right, right. And, you know, if you plant a tomato seed, you can't expect an oak tree.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes you have to, in relationship, you have to know and understand that the person that you're with. When we get to a place, and we'll talk about this at another time, when we can truly understand how to show understanding for where people are and accept people for where they are initially, that doesn't mean that people shouldn't change. It means that you have to be aware. And the way you get people to move from where they are is to help them. First, help yourself. You know, marry yourself, understand the awareness wheel, and help them understand that awareness wheel, and be skillful. Learn the skills so you can skillfully share your thoughts and feelings appropriately so you can change first, because you have to look at your own process before you can have expectation, because it would be unrealistic for you to expect somebody else to change before you change.
Yes.
So that was the end of our second part of our show, our radio show. And I saw a lot of people come in. You jumped in right in time as we were going through it. We're going to continue some more with how men and women show up. But I first want to, I see all these, I love the thumbs up and the love. I mean, you guys are really supportive. Again, if you want to be supportive, come be with us. We sacrifice our time and our families because we want to share and we want to bless you. And we love you to share this. Share it on Facebook. Post it. Repost it. Do whatever you can to help support us. Share it with your friends. You can write something up yourself on your own page. And I see a little heart. I said on your own page, somebody put hearts up. You can help us bring more people to really get this. And as we expand our Facebook family and this chatting session that we're doing, it'll continue to bless people, and it'll allow us to see the value in what we're doing. We'll know that people really want us to do this, because
Absolutely.
I mean, you don't want to keep doing something if it doesn't bless people. So, and of course, we're not asking people for any money. We're just asking people to be supportive. So you can support us by sharing and be almost a advocate for the program and what we're doing. Nate, if you can look up and see, get closer and see if you can see what we got for comments and questions.
We have a comment from Bernadette Johnson, spiritual condition.
Okay. So our spiritual condition is a part, Bernadette. We are going to be talking about that. We're talking about body, soul, meaning your mind, your will, your emotions, and the spiritual area when we talk about this showing up in relationship.
Yes, Nashoni Fields, this is a blessing.
Okay. Thank you, Lashoni. It's a blessing to you, Nate.
Thank you.
Here, you can see him right there. Then
Awesome.
You can sit down, I guess. That way you don't have to try to do that. Now, if there's a question, Nate, don't say the person's name,
Okay.
because they may want to be anonymous. But if it's a comment, and I'm sure that person wouldn't mind giving their comment. So let's see what else you got there. Can you scroll down? You got to hit. Okay. Yeah.
So
Okay. So we got some more. So I just want you to continue to be supportive. If you have any more questions, feel free to still send it. You can go on my Facebook page, and you can post the questions. You'll see us post these programs, and you can comment on those. In the future, I will be trying to respond back to the comments. Last week we had probably like 500 views on our video. We had a lot of likes, and over like 250 or so likes or whatever, and we didn't get quite to our 50 shares. I think altogether we probably had 20 something shares, so I'm trying to get 50 shares. So share, it's fair.
Good.
If you're getting something from this, look, this is advice for life. I'm going to give you, as I give you these nuggets, one of the ones that I gave you in this program is that you have to do an expectation checklist. So remember that you should vet out the expectations that you have in that relationship, and you have to make sure that you're being in touch with the fact that you have realistic expectations, because usually realistic expectations are the things that take people down that road. And we'll talk some more about the awareness wheel, the skills, and all these things. We'll be back here again next Tuesday, every Tuesday night at 8:30. You can be with us, join us, share with us as we answer your relationship questions and as we deal with very deep and abiding relationship subject matter. We love you. Look forward to seeing you next week. And again, our radio program Sunday morning. Don't forget, we will be on Sunday morning on Heaven 600. You can download the iHeartRadio app. And that app is, you just go in the App Store, download the iHeartRadio, and then you can select Gospel, then Heaven 600, and we will be there. You can stream live. It's a great signal. You can hear clearly 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings. And of course, you always can join our podcast so that the programs, as we upload them onto the podcast, will come directly to you. You can be on the way to work listening to it. You can be in the gym listening to it. You can really get into, and I'm telling you, some of the past things that I've done on relationship will blow you away. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss it. You're going to love it. Thank y'all so much for being here, and God bless you.